Alrighty, welcome to another video of Mysteries of Aelio. In today's episode we'll be focusing on where it all started with this game, the drop pod that we arrived in. So here's what we know so far from what we've seen in the story. We were ejected from space, either from a station or a spaceship, and we ended up landing on an island where we were found by Aina. Now as soon as we get our bearings and introduce ourselves to Aina, we are immediately attacked by dolls units. It's at this point where we end up meeting Manon. She addresses us as Medion, which doesn't really make sense to us at that point in time, but you know, that's quickly shrugged off because we have to fight the dolls units. Their numbers then start overwhelming us, and at that point that's where Aina's father, Garawa, shows up and helps us get rid of the rest. It's at this point where we're given some clarity on the whole situation. We're taken back to town, given a tutorial or two, and then Garawa sets us down and explains the whole thing to us. It's at that point where Garawa then explains to us that the enemies we encountered are named dolls, and that there's a theory that both dolls and Medion come from the same place. But for whatever reason, the general population of the area tend to ignore that fact and side with us anyway because we don't seem harmful and we're pretty much helping them anyway. We're told that people like us who just happen to fall out of the sky are called Medion, and for some reason, we generally don't have any memories about our past. Only Manon, however, who has some retention of her engineering knowledge. It's at that point where the game decides to shift away from all of this and then starts focusing more on the main plot and what's going on. Now this is where my speculation comes in. First of all, did we come from the previous game? Because, you know, we do have our old characters, for those of us that came from PSO2, however, there's no memories or anything relating to the previous game aside from that, you know? So there's two ways we can end up like this. The first being is that we were physically held there for 1,000 years through maybe cryo or something, because there's no way we can live that long. And the other idea is maybe we use time travel, because that's been a very common theme in the previous game, so it makes sense to use it here too. Which brings in another question. What happened to everyone? What happened to Shao? What happened to Matoi? What happened to the Six, the fleet, everyone? Where did they all go? If it was time travel, then they should all still be there somehow. If it was us being kept through cryo, then most of them have probably passed on. But as far as we know, Shao is an eternal being. He can survive for 1,000 years no problem. So where is he? My theory is that he could technically still be out there, but not in contact with anyone here on Aelio. We might end up running into him later on in the story. Who knows? Now the next thing I'd like to talk about would be the dolls. Now technically story-wise, they apparently come from the same place as we do, also the theory goes. However, this is where a bit of a headache comes in. The dolls clearly look like they're made to destroy us, to hunt us down. As soon as we show up in Aelio, they're showing up in droves coming after us, to the point where they send in one massive one to blow us up in Aelio town. Which, yeah, that's pretty much our bad, because that never happened before, and when it did happen, Manon, Aina, and ourselves were the only survivors. And I have this sinking feeling Aina will probably blame us for that whole debacle and get really mad at us. In terms of what's been going on in the story versus what is being said in the story, it's pretty conflicting in regards to how this is all going to make sense. You know, it was a headache in PSO2 as to how the whole story connected together, because it was so long and there were so many elements to it, and I get the feeling that Sega's going to do the same thing here, so this is going to be one hell of an emotional roller coaster that we all have to set ourselves up for, I guess. But anyways, that's been my take on the drop pod. Feel free to comment down below as to what you guys think. But anyhow, that's the video for today. If you liked the video, please like. If you want to subscribe, do so. And yeah, ciao for now.